Good morning, Hampton Roads. This is Attorney Anderson, January 9th, 2020. I've received a lot of emails from you regarding the definition of what a universal background check is. Now, we know they're coming. It seems to have pretty much bipartisan support amongst the Republicans. So let me tell you what that really means. Cut the hype from the hysteria. All right, first off, if you come to a gun shop and you buy a firearm, you have to go through a background check. And basically what you do is you fill out a federal application and you also fill out a state application. And then the gun shop takes that information, they plug it into a system with the Virginia State Police, and then we upload that to the Virginia State Police, and then they do a background check, primarily relying on the NCIS criminal database system. So that's how it goes. And then what happens is, from the gun shop's perspective, is we send the information up, and then the state police pretty quickly send the information back that says yes or no. If they say yes, then the gun shop can sell the firearm to the purchaser, and if they say no, then the gun shop cannot sell the purchaser the firearm. Now, here's the couple of things. One, if you are in a position of getting denied, it's because there's something in the national system that prohibits you. The most common people that are in that system are convicted felons, people who have involuntarily been committed to a mental institution, people that have a domestic violence conviction, people that have a protective order hearing against them, and then obviously people that are not legal in the United States, aren't in the system at all, and then that even as a citizen. So that's what comes back. There's a couple of other ways you can get in that system, but it's mostly that. So when you do a background check, basically it's not Minority Report, okay? It's not able to see in the future of what you're going to do with the firearm. It just says, what have you done in the past? All right, and that's how it goes. And if you're in the system and you're denied because of a criminal or other issue in the past, then that's why you would be denied to own and possess a firearm. So that's how it works at a gun shop. Now, what universal background checks are attacking are people that are doing private transactions amongst themselves. So basically, if I'm just a private party with a gun, I can go to another private party and sell him that gun without that purchaser being able to buy a firearm. And so what the universal background checks want to do is that between private party transactions, they want to make the purchaser of a firearm have to go get a background check. So they're going to have to go to a gun shop, or they're going to have to come up with some kind of procedure where the state police can do a background check before that subsequent purchaser can get the firearm. Now, for many people, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, really, why should a purchaser of a firearm not have to go through a background check, right? But let me just play devil's advocate to that as well, and it's something that everybody needs to hear. The governor keeps saying that we want reasonable gun reform. We want reasonable common sense gun reform. Okay, so taking those words into in the common definitions of the language is that the people of Virginia want the government to do something that is going to make a difference. Okay, that's essentially the what those words mean. In Virginia, there are about 1,000 people that are killed by firearms every year. 650 of them are by suicide. Okay, so if I'm perfectly sane and I go into a gun shop and I buy a gun and I get that gun, and then later down the road become severely depressed and kill myself, there's not going to be any way to avoid that. All right, so that leaves 350 people that have misused their firearms in the Commonwealth of Virginia. 80% of all people who misuse their firearms get their firearms illegally. And when I'm talking about illegally, I'm talking about the current laws. So if I sell my gun to my buddy, that is a legal transaction without a private party background check. So that means that the system has failed 20% of 350 people in Virginia, which is 70. Will universal background checks materially change that? That is not reasonable common sense gun reform. All right, that is basically what a lot of people think is just another way to compel some type of governmental registration, getting people involved in the system. Even if it could change the outcome of 70 people, is that really what they're talking about? Is the entire state really bent on, if universal background checks could guarantee to fix those 70 people, could guarantee it, which they can't, but if they could, is that really what all of Richmond has to be talking about today and talking about in the state of the Commonwealth? Compared to the opioid deaths, the fentanyl deaths, the 650 people who kill themselves every year for suicide. Was there anything from the governor that talked about mental health and how to deal with people that have really no outlet to seek relief? It's not. Universal background checks may feel good and they may feel like they're closing a loophole, but the factual truth is that the narrative that we have a gun epidemic problem in Virginia and that universal background checks are going to fix those is just not true. So that's the truth. I hope that helps, and I hope that explains to you what is going on. I'll tell you who will benefit from universal background checks. Me, because I own a gun shop. So now you're going to have to come to my gun shop, and I'm going to get to charge you money for that. So I'm going to benefit, my gun shop, and all of the other gun shop owners in Virginia are going to benefit from that. So to Governor Northam as the gun shop owner, thanks. You're putting more money in my pocket, but you're absolutely not doing anything to make the system safer by doing it.